Well, so this is Baruch here, back here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel. And we're moving on in this book written by this Dr. HAIM BEINART. Originally came from a Hasidic Russian family that fled Russia during some of the persecutions. And wound up a professor of Jewish history, working with maps like this. He's an extensive, for those of you who have Spanish heritage, his extensive analysis of books of different professors at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, covering what happened to the Spanish Jews. This is his expertise. And so a little bit I feel like I'm held back here because I want to get to what happened in Spain, because it's so incredibly bad and explains a great deal. Now, here we have another factor, the Norman invasion of southern Italy. So the question is, who are these Normans? Because we know there's a place called Normandy in France, and we know that the Normans invaded England and, lots of different kinds of things. Well, I looked it up, and I found that the Normans are really Vikings. So the Vikings used to go and they pillage rage in England and France and different kinds of places around in the area from which they came, which is Scandinavia. And over here in France, they really liked it there. And so they started colonizing it. It's unusual for them, but that's how strong they were. And they really took over the western part of France and became a major influence in that part of the world. So now also apparently they came at this sometime, and we're going to see that here, the Norman invasion of southern Italy. Now that's what we're going to concentrate on now in this little piece. Very small piece. He says the Byzantine Empire. Let's look at that. In the year 1025, this is what it looked like. It covered all of this is Smyrna, which is in Turkey. It took at Salonika, which is in Greece. Brindisi, which is in the southern part of Italy, southeastern part of Italy, all the way up through Croatia and bordering on Venice, really. So all of this is this Eastern Roman Empire, which is involved in tremendous competition with the Western Roman Empire, all at this time called by the name the Holy Roman Empire, which implies the Frankish kingdom, which is the French. The Caliphate of Cordoba, well, that's a different story. We'll talk about that's Spain again. So we're not going to get into that. So then we go to the Rhine. Here's the Rhine River. Here's Vienna. So you see in Lyon, this is part of Lyon is on the border between us, I guess, maybe the Italian rule or the Italian language there. So this is really quite a Swiss kind of area over here. So at any rate, this is the situation in the world. So these are the Byzantine Empire, and then this color refers to areas under Muslim control. These are the Arabs, all the Arabs throughout the Middle East, all the Arabs on the southern side of the peninsula, of the sea, of the Mediterranean Sea. You have the Arabs. That is our brother Yishmael. On the northern side of the sea, you have the fight between two major alliances. Now, you have to think back into this. Who is Byzantium today? Well, find the religion of Byzantium, that's what it is. And the places where you find it, which is where? In Greece, in Armenia, which is maybe up here somewhere in the map, and Russia. So these places, Russia, Ukraine, I don't know if they're different places or not. This is where you find the remnants, the strong remnants of Byzantine Catholicism, but they don't call themselves Catholics. They refer themselves as Orthodox. So that's part of the setup here. Now let's look in here and see if we can find a little bit more, and let's try to find we got only one number. So this is here, and it's pointing to this trade route, and here is the word Normans. So the Normans set themselves up and attack this area. This is called the Straits of Messina, which is in between, it's a part of the ocean, in between the island of Sicily and southern Italy, that toe part of the boot of southern Italy, the Straits of Messina, which is actually a part of Sicily. That's the town itself. He says in 1060, and between these 31 years, The Normans conquered Sicily and ruled the island until 1194. Now, it's interesting that you see in some Sicilians the blue eyes. So this is the darkest part of Italy, so to speak, in terms of coloration of the skin, because it's hot. It's a hot area down here. But nonetheless, like Frank Sinatra, if any of those who are around that know who Frank Sinatra was, blue, they called him Blue Eyes. He came from Sicilian people. So this gives you an idea of what the situation looked like in the time of the of the Norman conquest of Sicily. We had a lot to do with that. Where the Arabs were, where the Byzantines were, and where the Western Romans were. Now, here's another piece which I really don't know too much about, and we'll try to understand it. He says, yesterday we talked a little bit about this. The Jewish community of the small town of Oria, located between Taranto and Brindisi. So, just to give you an idea, I don't know where Taranto is on this map. I looked at it on the other map, and maybe we can look back at it again. Let me bring this down. Here's Brindisi. Now, that's on the heel of the boot. So, also on the ocean. Notice how often Jews are associated in this area at this time with ports, because trading, going back to the Radhanites and all that, was a mainstay of how we survived in lands that didn't really care for us. People, family members who wanted the worst for us. The Jewish community of the small town of Oria, located between Taranto and Brindisi, was the center of Jewry in southern Italy under Byzantine rule. So we live with the Byzantines. The Amitai family was active in Oria for many generations, and their descendants, including Shabtai ben Shabsai, the poet, who died in the year 886, the doctor Shabbatai Donolo, we've heard that name before, in 913, after 983 he died, who composed a number of medical texts in Hebrew. Paltiel I, he died around 975, he was an astrologer and physician who was appointed aide to the Caliph at the Fatimid court in Egypt and head of the Egyptian Jewish communities. This is all one family. And Ahimaaz, that's another name, the author of one of the first historical descriptions of the period in the year 1054. So here we say that I'm not sure exactly how this works. I've never really examined this, but this is a map. You can look at it yourself and try to work on that. He says there's this Amitai first, Amitai the first, yeah, that's the first. Then going back to the different years, so here the year is 1886. Then we have more family developed, 925. He has this historical chart. So it comes all the way down. Now here, how now we got from 925 up here on this path to the year 913 is Shabbatai Donolo, where we saw that before. And it keeps moving on to all these heads of this one family. 1008, not to 945, 940, 1043 to 988, 1017, 1044, 1038. Why do we bring this? Because this brings you into the 11th century. This is best that we know about this, that families were extensive. Families were extremely, extremely important to survival in this world. Close relationships between Jews who were persecuted for different peoples at different times were able to band together and make business. And that's how we survived at that time. This is Baruch Fleischman, Tikkun Elevator Kollel. As the next time we're going to get into this religious ferment and sex in Judaism. Let me see what happened here. In Judaism. So he says religious ferment and sex in Judaism until the 12th century. We're going to get more into, well, Jewish life and what happens with us. This is Baruch Fleischman at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel.